Well, he started from the bottom and now he's here. What's up, guys? It's that guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, it is meant to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, man, I got 10 minutes to talk about Egoist Isagi 4-game arc Isagi. Let me start the timer right now. Egoist Isagi is peak Isagi. I've seen a lot of people still have second selection Isagi as peak Isagi, and I've seen people pick specific games of Egoist Isagi as peak Isagi. And don't worry, I'm definitely considering making my thoughts videos on like each individual game of Isagi, because obviously those are whole arcs in of themselves in the macro arc that is the Egoist League. So I'll probably go more in depth on like Manshine Isagi and Uber's Isagi and Peak Isagi, and even a little bit of Arch Isagi, because I think it all plays an interesting narrative role. But of course, let's talk about Egoist Isagi and why I say he's literally kind of just perfect, which I know is going to be like, oh wow, look at pencil glazing Isagi Yoichi. Is the sky blue? Does rain come from clouds? Is anything but other than the darkness contain the light? I don't know where that came from. I've been watching way too much stuff on content. But with that being the case, Egoist Isagi is perfect to me mainly because the story was so well built around him. And I know you're gonna be like, Pencil Man, he's the main character. No, duh, the story was built around him. And yes, I know, but there's something about it that hits a little bit different for Egoist Isagi. And it very specifically is the whole started from the bottom, now we hear journey. That essentially is the journey of Blue Lock, right? It's Isagi going from a worthless nobody who couldn't even call himself a striker to becoming now the #1 joint striker in the world and kind of the face of Blue Lock, the demonic hero king, if you will. And it is simply the fact that Isagi starts and simply claws and claws and claws and claws and claws his way up from the depths, from the trenches, for this nice, beautiful, little, perfect 4-game arc. I mentioned it as the arc was going on that I could see the vision. Kaneshiro Sensei and I, we were sharing notes, passing it back and forth. But it's just Kaneshiro Sensei set up a really good story where he opens with Isagi not even getting on the field, not even being on the pitch, ultimately only being given a chance because of what he did before. That was his Blue Lock ticket re-entry, essentially, getting onto the pitch and getting that value in that assist to Kunigami. Then we have Manshine Isagi, who goes on to evolve that. Now that he's on the pitch, now that he's made these connections, now that he's started this battle, this war with Kaiser for BM, now that he's proven himself in some sense, he needs to prove himself even further and defeat Kaiser as a playmaker. And he very specifically does that with how he basically facilitates the entire game. One way or another, you can almost trace every single goal in the Manshine game, not every single block, but a fat chunk of blocks back to Isagi. He was the man of the match for a reason in that game, and it's literally because he was here and there and up and down and left and right. He was moving everywhere, and very specifically seeing Isagi move that well, but still struggle with his evolution in the sense that he was very, very tired. The meta vision was taking its toll on him. Even as he evolved, he knew he simply was not good enough and had to start relying on that manipulation, that messing with others, toying with them, and turning them into the clowns of his story. Nothing more than tools to be used. Oh, it was hitting so good. And obviously, I see why a lot of people have Manshine Isagi as their peak Isagi, don't get me wrong, but then we have Uber's Isagi, and we see the evolution upon the evolution, where first game was about him getting on the pitch and priding some sort of value so he could rival Kaiser at all. Second game was proving that he could defeat Kaiser as a playmaker and overall orchestrate the team better. Uber's was proving that not only was he a better playmaker, but he could also facilitate goals. And the one thing I really, really like that I see a lot of people don't give too much credit for is that the narrative was built in a way that Isagi got to beat Kaiser while not actually being better than Kaiser. And I know there are going to be some Isagi Yoichi investors who are going to be like, Pencil Man, how dare you say Isagi's not better than Kaiser? And to that I say, look at their salaries. And to that I say, I'm kidding. The real reason I say he's not better is because look at how the narrative has to warp around the idea of Kaiser in order to restrain him enough that Isagi can defeat him. Realize, if Lorenzo did not exist in Uber's, Kaiser would have won their bet. Let's be completely honest. But that's not a bad thing. That's only a good thing, because once again shows how Isagi Yoichi is able to manipulate the field conditions that are presented before him, manipulate the players in front of him, and manipulate the very game itself through his own egoism, through his understanding of people's own motivation, through his evolution of metavision. All of that is Uber's Isagi rising to the point. Obviously opening up with a banger first goal, showing off his new ambidextricity. The second goal, not necessarily facilitating it, but being a threat worthy enough to draw off Lorenzo and bite himself in the behind, essentially, allowing Kaiser to go ahead and score his own goal, which in my opinion is the craziest goal in the series. I know it's just a bicycle shot off the back, but that doesn't matter to me. It's still absolutely busted. And then, of course, the final goal being born of Isagi's own hunger for someone who can rival his mind and someone who can support and facilitate him. And him very specifically overriding Noah, setting up the real endgame of the story of Isagi surpassing Noah, not just as a striker, but as like all around as a player. And having Yori be the basis for that final goal, even if it means Isagi once again devouring somebody else's dream of getting on the pitch and using them simply as a tool for his own growth and evolution. Oh, it's beautiful. And once again, it's building up Isagi as this beautiful mirror to Kaiser. Like I said, the whole Egoist League is consistently a story of Isagi and Kaiser, how they reflect off of each other, leading us into the final game, PXG versus BM. And while I still think Rin is kind of boring, I think Shido could definitely use a little bit more development or some backstory or something. What works so well in that game is very specifically the idea of Isagi accepting a sick, twisted mentality. A mentality that may come to haunt him in the future, considering how it's utilized there. The idea that Isagi Yoichi, no matter what he has to do, no matter how he has to do it, he will achieve victory. And very specifically, it doesn't matter who he must manipulate, who he must break down, who he must overcome, if they are there to be broken down, witnessed, overcome, and readjusted, remanipulated, retooled to serve his fancy, even if that means reaching out to the man who has ruined his life in many different ways. And Kaiser has stopped him from getting so much more value and held him back in so many different ways. All of it meant making Kaiser be nothing more than a tool for Isagi's own evolution. It just hits so good. It's the idea of Isagi really growing into, very specifically, a demonic hero king. Ultimately, Isagi's still a hero. He's Blue Lock's hero. He's the undefeated leader of BM. He's a monster, a beast, a creature. But it comes with that darkness. And it's a darkness Kaneshiro Sensei knows about and is actively questioning us Isagi fans of, hey, how far are you willing to let this guy go? How much are you willing to glaze him? Will you be able to glaze him to the very end? And that's why I think the new Egoist League is perfect for Isagi. Because it not only rises him up as a character by giving him all these crazy different feats and interactions, all with context, so he doesn't get too cracked too soon, so he still has a whole bunch of development to do physically, interpersonally, metavision-wise. He still has a whole bunch of growth to do, which will be good because we have the U20 World Cup, which isn't actually the final arc of the series. We have to have the real World Cup. So he's in a good spot on his development line. And at the same time has fantastic character interactions, and at the same time is building to something devious, something diabolical. Ultimately, I, as many others, don't really think that we've seen Isagi's true ego just yet. I think this whole idea of winning by any means necessary, while it works, something is going to happen that'll make it fail. There's going to be something that Isagi does because of this mentality that will make him falter. That may cost him the entire U20 World Cup as it is. Especially considering he himself acknowledges that he's up so high. And once you get up high, once you reach the #1 spot, it's a long way down. So for the new Egoist League to not just raise up Isagi as this character of characters, this man who acts as the beating heart of Blue Lock, not just in the sense of bringing hope to many all around the world and even on his own team, but very specifically despair to many others around the world and the enemy team and sometimes his own teammates. This beautiful dichotomy between the boy who would never hurt a fly off the pitch and the monster who would tear you down right upon it. It is beautiful. It is delicious. It is scrumptious, and it's left enough open-ended that I believe Isagi can grow stronger. That I believe Isagi still has a long way to go. That I believe that Isagi can do things a little bit dark, a little bit devious, a little bit evil. And that is the perfect way to make me feel uneasy yet invested in a protagonist for a long-running series. I may be confident that Isagi Yoichi has evolved and grown and become 10 times the man he was at the start of the Egoist League. But I'm also just as confident, worried, and afraid that just because he's become 10 times the man, what is he willing to lose in order to win? What is he willing to give in order to gain? What will Isagi Yoichi do? That in Kaneshiro Sensei's eyes will make us, the readers, question if we can support him at all. Why should he worry about his parents being there no matter what? That uncertainty, that fear, that darkness that exists within the demonic Hero King, that is why Isagi Yuichi is perfect, as he's both the darkness and the light. But, of course, that's just my thoughts on Neo Isagi, as I definitely have to make those individual videos. But unfortunately, I am out of time. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave Twilight Hero King. Leave Twilight Hero King in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that notifications so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you even have a Patreon below where you support me for as low as $1 a month. Hitting exclusive videos, early content, and more. So now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions every series I'm to review, ad variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also the link to my Ko-Fi description down below, and drop 5 minutes for a short video, 29 beats on video, or any beats at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dag the Pencil, writing off. I would like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Redwolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier, XZ, Zera, Brendan Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Uda, Alex Kenny, Yuki Ally, Enzo, Nevis 97, Zachary Wilson, Azo 2404, Planet Crone, Rye Rich, G Prosper, Swift Strike, Alexicon, Striker Man, and Autumn Mornings Lazo. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our line art patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Dread Zoan, and A+A. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, Euchia, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. Then, I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Joaquin Munoz and Joaquin Munoz. And a final thank you to our ultimate, that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin's wife. Not Calvin Elder, who ultimately does have one of my kidneys, but now I must know, and I must undergo the process of getting this second one removed, so I can send the other over to this wonderful family.